Hi everybody, it's Andrea from Autoimmune Strong. I'm all bundled up because it is like really cold here in Massachusetts. It's supposed to be spring, but I heard that it's snowing in parts of Massachusetts. It's gross. Cold and gross. So I wanted to tell you a story of a couple days ago because it was beautiful and sunny out, and I overdid it a little bit. And so I realized that I wanted to start a Facebook Live session talking about how to recover after you've overdone it. So before I tell that story, I want to say that if you're here watching, welcome. I'm Andrea from Autoimmune Strong, and I'm excited that you're here. And I love this to be interactive. So introduce yourself, say hi, tell me your story, ask me questions as I tell you my story. I'm here to chat with you. So tell me what's going on with you. And let me know like where you're from, and I don't know, just say hi, because I like not feeling like I'm talking out into no man's land, right? So, okay, I'm going to tell you this story. On Saturday, well, actually, let me back up and say it has been raining here in Massachusetts for like the last 2 weeks straight. It's been cold and rainy, and everything's pretty and flowering and blooming because it's spring, but honestly, I can't stand the rain anymore. I really am dying for some sunshine. So on Saturday, it was gloriously sunny. It was like the perfect day. It was sunny and like 65, and the sky was just this gorgeous color blue, and my kids had an event to go to, and my husband had an obligation that he had, and so I found myself with a morning free and on this beautiful sunny day. And so I decided to take advantage of it, because normally I work on Saturday mornings sometimes, and this Saturday I was like, I am not staying inside and working. I'm going to go outside and enjoy myself. So I did. I have been, for those of you who are watching this perhaps for the first time or haven't been following me for a while, I'm going to give you some background, which is that I broke my ankle in December, and I've been slowly trying to build my strength back up after my doctor gave me the okay to go back to doing movement. And it's been frustrating because, as you know, with autoimmune disease, we have to do exercise slowly. We have to build up slowly over time. You can't build things up fast. The minute you try and push too fast or too hard and try and do too much, your body kicks back, right? And it's like, oh, no, this isn't going to work for you today. And then you get exhausted, and you get fatigue, and you have setbacks, and you have flare-ups. And so I have been doing my best to build my strength back up without having a flare-up. And that means doing teeny tiny things to build up over time. Autoimmune Strong style. This is what I teach in the program. So I am practicing what I preach, which means that, let's see, it's May. It's been almost 6 months since I broke my foot, and I'm now just starting to get back into a similar exercise routine to what I was doing before I broke my ankle. I'm like, just in the last 2 weeks, I've been strong enough to start doing some of the things that I used to do. It's taken that long, but I don't rush it because I don't want to flare up. No setbacks over here. I'm going to pause and say hi, welcome. Everybody is talking to me, and I'm loving it. And it sounds like this topic of overdoing it is really an important one, and something that you guys struggle with too. So I'm excited that you're here. So now that I've told you the backstory, I'll tell you this. I have been trying to get back to cardio. I believe in strength training. I believe that you cannot do cardio if you are someone who is in the throes of a flare-up. or if you're someone who's prone to exhaustion and fatigue and flare up, especially as a result of exercise, I'm going to tell you right now, cardio is not your friend. We're going to talk about that more to come. So stay tuned on that topic. But today I'm going to talk about my experience running, because I have done a really good job of taking the time to build up my strength over long periods of time. I've been working on this for years. And so I'm in a place where I am relatively flare-up free. And my exhaustion is really managed and my fatigue is really managed. And so I've been able to incorporate cardio back into my life. Little bits of it. Now, I used to be a long distance runner. I used to train for marathons. That will never happen again. But I do enjoy running. It's very important. It's part of who I am. And it makes me feel alive and I love it. And so I am trying to find a way to make cardio work for my body. So anyways, back to Saturday. Glorious, sunny, gorgeous day. And all I want to do is be outside in nature. So I decide I'm going to go for a trail run, be outside. And I had done a trail run earlier that week, a short one, and it felt really uncomfortable and awkward, and like my body didn't know what it was doing. I was like a baby deer with these legs that are like, I don't know how to move anymore. I've forgotten. And so I wanted a chance to go back and do a trail run again, to see if I can do it a little bit better, a little bit smoother, because practice makes perfect, right? Or at least practice makes progress. So I did one loop around, which was 1.5 miles, and I finished it. And I was like, I feel okay. And I was having so much fun that I decided to do another loop around. And I was still feeling okay after I did the second loop around. And I knew, I teach this stuff. I know this stuff, which is that I knew in my head, Andrea, you've already pushed it really far past your maximum. If you do any more, you're putting yourself at real risk of a flare-up. That's just the reality. You have to know your boundaries. But at that point in time, my body said to me, I don't care. I'm having so much fun out here. It's sunny. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The trees are blooming. I run by this river that was really full because of all the rain. It was making these beautiful, gurgling noises. And my body overcame my mind and said, you know what, let's do another loop. So I didn't run the third loop. I walked it. But still, there was way more than I've done before. And the thing about cardio, the reason why I say that it's not okay for people who are in the throes of flare-up, is that cardio ramps up your stress and inflammation on your body so fast. Way faster than any kind of strength training movements, or definitely way faster than any of the movements I teach in Autoimmune Strong. So cardio is a surefire way. If you're at risk of a flare-up at all, cardio is a surefire way to make sure that your body goes into flare immediately. So cardio, that's why I say those of you who are in and out of flares once or twice a month, cardio is definitely not your friend, because you are going to be at risk of having more flare-ups. So my brain, has this happened to you guys where your brain knows you gotta stop? Otherwise you're putting yourself at risk. And my body was like, shush brain, I'm having so much fun. I'm loving this. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna do it anyways. Well, that's what happened to me. See, even the experts. It happens to the experts. So I did it, and I had a really great day. And then later, it was still glorious and sunny, and so my family came home, and I played basketball outside with my kids, and I helped my husband out with the gardening, and, I was really active. And I woke up the next morning, and I went, I'm exhausted. It was hard to get out of bed. I was tired. I was very tired. I wasn't having a flare, but I was just exhausted. And I could tell. I knew it was going to happen. And I could tell that if I pushed myself to do anything the next day, that I was going to pay for it. Like, that is how a flare happens. I could feel it in my body, like, this flare up is coming. And so Sunday was Mother's Day. It happened to be really cold and rainy and gross. So my family had created, they had a plan for what we were going to do. And I was really worried about hurting their feelings. But I said to them, but because it was Mother's Day and we had made it very clear that on Mother's Day I get to pick what I'm doing, I mustered up my courage, because I really, the kids and my husband had like planned a really fun, active day for us. And I really didn't want to disappoint them. I was worried about disappointing them. Do you guys feel that sometimes? Like, when you know that you need to listen to your body and you need to stop and slow down, but you're worried about disappointing the people in your life because they expect something from you, and and you don't want to tell them that you can't do it, so you push yourself to do it anyways, and then you really pay for it. Well, this is going on in my head of going like, I know I really can't do this day that they had planned for me. I know that I really need to like take a nap and lie on the couch, and I just need to take care of myself. And so I mustered up my courage, because I took a shower, and that shower was exhausting. Like, I was blow drying my hair, and I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it through this day. I can barely make it through the shower and this blowing of my hair dry. So, so I called my husband upstairs and I said, is it really going to disappoint you guys if we don't do this? If we call an audible on this day and we do something else? And I couldn't read him. I think he was a little disappointed because he had, planned this day, but he said, look, if you're tired, it's your day. You tell us what you want to do. And I said, I don't think I can do this. I'm tired. And so he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, why don't we go out for lunch and then like maybe do something small, and then we come back. I want to take a nap, and I want to rest on the couch for the rest of the day. Like, that's really what, if we're going to talk about doing what I want to do, that is what I want to do. I want to play games with the kids on the floor, and I just want to like keep it real mellow, and I don't want to move my body, and I want to rest and recover. And so that's what we did. We did that. We played a game, we went out for lunch, we came home, I took like an hour-long nap. It was amazing. We sat on the couch and caught up on Survivor. I don't know if anybody's watching this season or if you guys are Survivor buffs, but I love Survivor, and it was so fun. This is the first time my kids have ever watched it, so we're catching up on the edge of extinction, and while having them watch it is just so fun. And it's always been my dream to go on Survivor, except I don't think my body can handle it because of my autoimmune disease, but that's a conversation for another day. So anyways, we did nothing. And then I went to bed early. I went to bed like way early, at like 9 o'clock, 8:30 almost. I think I was in bed, and I slept. And I woke up today, and I feel better, but I still don't feel like 100%. So I'm taking it slow again today. And here's the thing. If I had worried about disappointing my family and pushed myself to do all the things yesterday, I'd be sitting here today talking to you from a place of flare-up. Or I would have canceled this Facebook Live and said, you guys, I'm in a flare-up. I'm too sick to talk to you today. So I took care of my body. But let's back up and talk about the choices that I made even before the recovery process. I knew on Saturday, when I chose to do the long run, and I chose to do the gardening, and I chose to play basketball with the kids, I knew that I didn't have to do a lot on Sunday. And I also knew that this week is a slower week for me. I don't have a lot of obligations this week. So part of what I did when I made that choice to do the longer run, I mean, yes, my body really wanted to do it and I wanted to give that to my body. And my brain was saying, you have to be really careful about this. Had I had other commitments that I knew were going to keep me busy this week, I never would have let my body override my brain. But because I knew that I had a slower week this week and that I could rest more and take the time to recover, I was able to make that choice. So I guess the lesson here is all about looking at the big picture. You can't just look at your exercise choices in isolation. You have to look at the big picture and say, is this a smart idea for me today to push myself hard? Am I going to have to show up and do something tomorrow? Because if say I had a Mother's Day brunch or like a party to go to where, I knew I would have had to dress up and look nice and show up and be friendly and, and have some energy to participate in life. I never would have made the decision to override my brain and to do that extra in the trail run, right? Or if I knew that this week was a hard week, there's some weeks where my weeks are crazy. If I knew I had a crazy week, I would have made a different choice. So I guess the lesson here is that you have to take everything into consideration. You have to consider, what other stressors do you have in your life? I mean, and those stressors don't need to be negative stressors. It's just, what other commitments do you have in your life that you care about? And if you have other commitments in your life that you care about, you need to modify your exercise choices appropriately. So on weeks where you have a tough week, you still need to exercise. You have to be consistent. You have to show up. But you don't have to do hard exercise. Like on the weeks where I'm really busy, if I do abdominal bracing for a minute or two a day, I'm happy. If I get a chance to foam roll, once a day, I'm happy. That's, and then on weeks where I have less going on, I can do more. And then when you do more, you have to carve out the time for recovery. That recovery is my priority this week. I talk a lot about journaling, and it's something I really practice. And so I journal every Sunday night, and I look at, what does my week look like this week? What does my week look like next week? And I look ahead so that I can start planning out my exercise in conjunction with my life. Because for those of you who are new here, I'm going to say this, and for those of you who have been watching me for a while, sometimes repetition is really important. When you have autoimmune disease and you live with exercise intolerance, what that means is that your body can only handle a certain level of stress before sending your body into flare-up. One of my favorite examples is like a car overheating, right? If you the car starts giving you signs that it's overheating, right? Like it starts showing you on the dashboard, I'm starting to overheat. Sometimes it makes noises. Sometimes you see smoke coming out of the hood. And you can choose to ignore those signs. And you know what happens when you ignore those signs? The car shuts down and you're stranded on the side of the road. Well, your body is the same way. You can push through all these stressors. You can have a busy week. You can choose to do a hard workout. You can choose to go gardening and to play basketball with your kids and do all the things. But if you don't listen to your signs when your body is telling you that you're tired, you are going to be like that car and you are going to be stranded on the side of the road, or in more applicable terms, you're going to be stuck in bed, unable to do the other things that you have committed to. or that you really want to do. So we have to make choices. That's the key to being able to recover without flare-up. I chose, because I was tired today, I chose not to shower or put on makeup or to even like brush my hair, because that was more than I had energy for. I knew I needed to show up for you guys here today. So it was worth it to me to be here and be present and spunky and bubbly and be able to talk to you. And I didn't want to take up another spoon by taking a shower. So, you know, I'm being honest with you guys here. I'm still in my pajamas, actually. You know, these are the decisions we have to make. We only have enough energy for certain amounts of things. So we have to make the hard choices. And we have to communicate with those people around us of why we're making the hard choices, like how we're prioritizing things. You know, I was very open with my husband at the risk of disappointing him. He may have been disappointed. I'm not sure. He didn't tell me. But it was important to me to get that trail run done. That was really something that was meaningful to me. And so I prioritized it. I don't know. I hope this was helpful to you guys today. Tell me, is this helpful? Do you guys have questions about your own recovery or about how to make those choices? Because they're really hard choices to make. We have a lot of demands in our life. There's a lot of competing demands, right? So, yeah. I don't know. Tell me if this was helpful to you. I really hope it was. I'm reading some of the comments. You guys, it seems like this is resonating with you, so I'm glad to hear that. Oh, Linda, you love my honesty? Thank you. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to bring it to you guys real. I mean, there's no easy answer, and there's no expert who can tell you exactly how to make your own decisions. You just have to weigh your inner needs with the needs of the people around you. Delissa, did I pronounce that right? Delissa is asking, how do you handle those who don't understand? Well, that's a really hard question to answer. I don't know if I handle it gracefully. The one thing I do is I talk about it. Like, I talk about the fact that I have chronic illness, and I talk about, like, my friends know that if I push too hard, I fall into a hole and they don't hear from me for a month. My husband knows, like, he's lived through the really disastrous time, so he knows what it looks like when I'm exhausted. He also knows, like, what my dreams are and what my hopes are, and he knows that I feel better in my body when I feel fit and strong. And so he knows all of this stuff. And so, I talk to him about making these hard choices. If you have a hard time communicating that, you can send them to my page. Have those people around you watch this Facebook Live so they can see from me, like, that it's not just you. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of us living with chronic illness who are going through the same thing. It's really hard because, there's not a lot of, let me put it another way. It's really hard because chronic illness, like ours, is invisible. And so on the surface, we look healthy, we look fine. And so it's hard for people to say, like, you look fine, but you don't feel fine, because that question mark of, like, well, is she really sick, or is she really lazy, or she just doesn't want to hang out with us, or and it's also hard for our families because, like, let's be honest, the less I do around the house, the more my husband has to do around the house. And so we talk about it. We just talk about it, and there's no good answer. I will tell you honestly, I've lost friends over it. There have been periods of time that have been really hard. But I have to listen to my inner voice and go with how I feel and make my own choices that way. And if people don't understand, unfortunately, that's just how it is. So let's see. Erin says that she's had her illness since 2002, and she's finally getting the hang of planning a rest day after days where I'm likely to overdo. Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do, is you have to plan ahead. You have to say, today is a hard day, so tomorrow is a rest day. And Jen is saying, as a mother, I'm always struggling with what to do and what not to do. Some days are easier than others. Some days I'm feeling like I'm lifting a big, heavy weight. And it's really, that is so true, Jen. That's everything. And so it's hard to plan a rest day, because especially when you're a mom and you're a caretaker for other people, and you know, weekends are supposed to be a day of rest, but that's often when those of us have to do more work, because we take care of our kids or our mothers or our in-laws or our, I don't know, the people that are important to us. We're caretakers. We just have to remember that it's important to put ourselves first. And so part of that is showing up for your daily regimen. Every day, I prepare for this. I train like an athlete every single day. I'm not training for a basketball game. I'm not training for an event. I'm training for my life. I'm training to be strong, to have the endurance, to be able to show up in my everyday life. So I eat healthy food every day. That doesn't mean I don't have some food that's not healthy. Like yesterday when we went out to lunch, I had, a ginger beer, which is like one of my favorite things. It's got a ton of sugar, but I had a half of it because I can't drink a whole one. It makes me sick, but I had some, and it was enough to make me feel really good and happy, like I was indulging, but not enough to make me feel like I was really sick. I prioritize my vegetables. I prioritize my food prep. I drink a lot of water every day. I exercise every single day, except on my rest and recovery days, which are also important. It doesn't mean I exercise for 30 minutes every day. It doesn't mean I sweat hard. It just means I show up, I do one thing that targets an important muscle group. That's what I teach in Autoimmune Strong. I teach, here's an exercise today that you can work on to improve your core. Tomorrow, we're going to work on your balance. The next day, we're going to stretch out your hips. And the next day after that, we're going to tighten your glutes. And so you're always working on something. Even if it's just for 5 minutes a day, when you work on it consistently in little bits over time, your body gets stronger and more capable. And you also build up that endurance, which gives you the ability to have more endurance in your everyday life. I hope this is helping. I'm going to keep going, but if you guys have more questions, please talk to me, because that's what I'm here for. Joni is saying the guilt that comes with taking the day to recover. That's what I'm working on. So, Joni, I think the key, and this is part of my personal journey that I've had to deal with and address, is like, why do you feel guilty taking care of yourself? Where does that come from? What's that about? Because for me, the reason I felt guilty is because I feel like my value to society is my gift of taking care of others. I'm a mom, I'm a caretaker, like that's my natural state. And so I feel guilty when I take care of myself, because I feel like I'm not doing a good job taking care of the people that I love because I'm too busy taking care of myself. Here's the thing that I've learned over time. It's really important. You cannot take care of others unless you take care of yourself. So putting yourself first is not being selfish. It's actually being selfless. Because when I was at my sickest and I was a disaster, and I was on the couch all the time, not because I was recovering, but because I was in such a hole I couldn't even recover. I couldn't get off the couch. Let me tell you, I was doing a terrible job at taking care of the people that I loved. And so now when I carve out a few minutes every day to do my exercise. I carve out an hour every week on Sundays to do my food prep. Every day when I drink my water, and I take the time to rest. And sometimes that means sitting on the couch and watching TV and doing nothing. It might look like it's being lazy, but actually it's recharging my battery so I can get up and do more. So you have to change that perspective. Let go of that guilt. Let it go. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Melinda's asking if I actually go to the gym. That's what she misses the most since she got diagnosed with her active RD. Yeah, I do go to the gym. My experience with Autoimmune Strong and the exercises that I teach in that program is my actual exercise program that I used personally to recover. That was 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago now. And so since then, yes, I go to the gym. I'm able to do 30 minutes to an hour's worth of exercise now. I mean, this is 8 years later. It's taken me a lot of time. I have been, over the last year, I've been powerlifting. I mean, I'm not lifting like 600 pounds, but I was able to deadlift on Friday. I deadlifted like 105 pounds, and that's after recovering from this broken ankle. I've been able to recover. The point is that I have worked for years on managing my stress levels, managing my exhaustion levels, listening to my body, eating healthy, nutritious foods, and really prioritizing putting myself first. It is a lifestyle. It is a forever lifestyle. I talk about it. You guys have probably heard me say this before. I talk about it as you have to stay vigilant. It is hard work living with chronic illness. People who don't have chronic illness have no idea how hard we work to take care of ourselves, right? It is so much harder. And I don't do it well all the time. I did a call. I do monthly member calls. So for anybody who's an Autoimmune Strong member, every month you have an opportunity to come and talk to me on a Zoom call where I get to see your face, and you get to ask me questions and tell me your story and talk to me about what you're going through. And someone asked me on this past Facebook monthly members call, how do you run Autoimmune Strong without getting sick? And my answer was, not very well. And I've struggled this past year because I've had too much to do. I take care of my family. I'm running this little tiny business. I'm trying to help communicate my message of healthy exercise, and it's a lot. And so I've really had to do a lot of inner work to look at, how do I prioritize my life? How am I going to get it all done without making myself sick? And what that's done is what that means and what that looks like is I've had to make some really hard choices about what I can and can't do. I know that I can no longer go out for dinner or drinks with friends on a weeknight. Even on a weekend. I can't stay out late. I have to be in bed by 8:30. Those are set. If I want to be able to do my exercises and do this work that I'm passionate about, I have to say no to something. So there are certain things I say no to, and I feel guilty about it. I feel terrible about it, but you can't say yes to everything. And so you have to really look inside your heart and say, what are the things that I care about most at this moment? And you have to say yes to a couple of those things, and then you say no to the rest of it. That's what's been able to get me back in the gym. Yep, I do. I go to the gym. And I want that for you. A lot of Autoimmune Strong members have said that they have been able to get back into the gym. I'm going to post a video of one of my members. Her name is Tara. She is amazing. When she came to Autoimmune Strong, she couldn't do the basic abdominal bracing for like 5 seconds. It was too hard. And now I think she's 8 months in the program, and she's doing strength classes at the gym 4 days a week. She's a superstar. And it's possible. Like, this change is possible. Joanne is saying, I'm at the point where my everyday includes rest, and that's what I'm working on getting out of. Your everyday may always include rest. I don't know that that needs to be the goal, to get out of the rest. That's up to you. I rest every day. I make sure I take time for myself, quiet time every day. I find that to be incredibly important. What I find is that what I do spend my time on during the day, I have more endurance and more capacity to do more every day. And that rest is important. That's what helps me be able to do more in a day. On the guilt subject, Joanne is saying, my husband tries to understand my connective tissue disease, but since I'm not working right now, I feel guilty, and he gets frustrated about only one income. Well, Suzanne, I totally get that. I had to quit my job, 7, almost 8 years ago, and I was the primary breadwinner at the time, and it was incredibly stressful, especially because it was during the recession. And then I was like, not only can I not work, but I need to eat all organic foods. I need to eat fruits and vegetables. I need to, our food bill was like insane, and I wasn't working. I totally understand where you're coming from. That is incredibly stressful. So what I would suggest is sitting down with your husband and work on a plan. If your goal is to be able to get back to work, you need to be prioritizing your healing. And so that's how perhaps you can get him on board with you. Because if he wants you to be working, then you guys need to prioritize your recovery together in order to achieve that long-term goal. And if you email me at Andrea@getautoimmunestrong.com, I will help you figure out how to do that. Because let's be honest, men are doers. Like, they like to see action. And so we have to frame our recovery in terms of action-based so that they understand. And what I've had to work on with my husband this year is saying, look, if I take the time for my recovery, I'm more fun for you. I can go out to a concert every once in a while, which is something that my husband loves to do. Or like, I might actually be like happy when you get home. And that's more enjoyable for him because he gets to be with me as like the person he married, that person that was fun and enjoyed life and wasn't just a bump on a log. So there are benefits there if your husband helps you work on your recovery, if you do it together. So it's about the way you frame it. And again, like, this Facebook Live can be a really great resource for you guys to sit down and watch it together and have an open conversation. Tell him about the journey that you want to be on and what your goal is, and you guys work on it together. It takes teamwork. And being open, Linda, you're saying being open to a new normal. That's really important because your normal is going to be different than the quote-unquote old you. Yeah, a new normal. Redefine what your life is going to look like and embrace it because it can look beautiful. It doesn't have to be this negative journey to be living with chronic illness. I have to tell you, I've learned so much about myself, and I'm a better person for it. It's taken a lot of hard work, but I've grown in ways I don't know that I ever expected to grow. So anyways, I hope this was really helpful to you. I'm here every Monday at noon Eastern doing these Facebook Lives. if you don't get a chance to catch it live, no worries, because the replay is always on the Facebook page, and I post them to the blog. So you can go to www.getautoimmunestrong.com and you can go to the blog page, and you'll see all the past Facebook Lives that I've done, all the different topics I've talked on. And you can go, if you go to www.getautoimmunestrong.com and you are ready to join the Autoimmune Strong program, which is changing lives, like seriously, you guys, every day I get an email from somebody who's saying, I have had this crazy transformation because of Autoimmune Strong. So if you're not a member yet and you want to be, go to www.getautoimmunestrong.com and sign up. Seriously, all you need is a minute a day. That's it. So if you can commit to 1 minute of exercise a day, this is where you start. So thank you for being here. I hope you can be with me again next week. And enjoy your day.